this is one of my favorite quests in our ecology module, which takes place in the grassland. The student is tasked with a very common ecology task, which is of course going and picking up poop. So this first part is pretty normal for one of our quests. A lot of it starts with poop, whether that's food webs or finding problems, but the second part gets a lot more interesting. So we're just going to show you briefly. You walk out in the grassland and the poop's already marked on your map to make it pretty easy for the players to find, but we do like them starting from the basics for field work that they accomplish in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom forward and go back and turn this in to the supervisor, who then collects the poop, and that's it. But this prompts a part 2 quest, and so we can continue on then, and they're pretty excited. However, they want you to go look into these because they saw something a little bit weird and give you a hollow suit. So we're sci-fi, we get to make things up, and in this case the player gets to turn into a jackrabbit, which you can see right here, and go off with a very weird, awkward jump. Apparently there's some bugs in the hollow suit, right? And go explore. And so they're tasked with going to 3 different locations where jackrabbit territories are to see if everything's okay with each of these as well, and do an observation. So this family seems to be doing fine. And so the player then goes over and checks out a couple others. And the last one, when they go and discover it, you see does not look so good here. And so it goes ahead and transitions right into a detective-style quest. And the student is then tasked with finding evidence. And as you see, they can find these little glowing pieces of evidence, and this is probably our most sad one there, with our sick jackrabbits here, which prompts things like the jackrabbits are breathing rapidly, and they can go around and find lots of evidence. This tree without any leaves shows there's not much food around, and some things like milkweed being poisonous that we need to help the player discover so that can be part of their argument. There's one more piece of evidence. I have 5 out of 6 right now, that's just around the corner here with a coyote eating a jackrabbit. Okay, so now we're 6 out of 6 and we found all of the possible pieces of evidence to try to figure out what's going on and what is the problem over here. So the student then heads back to the supervisor and picks a claim here. Do I think they're getting sick from food, or is it that they're getting eaten like that coyote? And in this case, most of the evidence seems to be pointing to the fact that the jackrabbits are getting sick from their food. So I use these evidence cards to go ahead and make a few different arguments here, like the fact that milkweed is poisonous, but they appear to be eating milkweed, and there isn't a lot of other food around. If I do a bad argument, I'll get some feedback saying like, oh, I suppose we know that the coyote killed that jackrabbit, but doesn't explain the other ones being sick. And so this way the character actually gives some specific feedback based on any possible poor arguments or misconceptions that we thought might be relevant to explain. So I'm going to wrap up this argument and figure out that it was indeed because of the milkweed and not having enough positive food around. And so the last part of the quest then, the character here in the game is going to assign to go put some seeds down in order to start growing some additional food for the jackrabbits and help with that problem. So I get to go sprinkle some seeds around on the ground there, and then go ahead and wrap up this quest and return back and finish it up, having solved this problem for the jackrabbits after figuring out what was going on. And there we go.